Good evening, everybody. This is Jeff Coco, co-chair of the North Andover Festival Committee. We're going to be opening our meeting, and I have to do our required reading here of the open meeting law. So if you'll all bear with me while I read this. Governor Baker has issued an emergency order relieving all public bodies from the open meeting law requirements that meetings must be conducted in a public place, open and accessible to the public, and that requirement of the majority of members must be physically present at a public place in order to constitute a quorum of a public body. Meetings of North Andover's boards and committees may take place remotely by all members of the public body. Meetings which by statute of North Andover bylaw require public participation, such as public hearings, or the permitting authority, such as zoning board of appeals, planning board, licensing commission, conservation commission, and other like boards, must provide a remote means through which the public may participate. North Andover is committed to implementing this emergency order to provide transparency.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jeff.
Okay. North Andover is committed to implementing this emergency order to provide the transparency and permit public access to the deliberation of boards and committees through establishing of the following. North Andover boards will make every effort to cancel or reschedule non-mandatory public meetings. For mandatory or permitted or licensing hearings, all boards and committees will conduct their meetings remotely, following the procedures below. To accommodate the potential for multiple remote participants, provide real-time participation by members of the public, and allow any party entitled to or required to participate. Audio-only participation will be allowed. For public comment and public meetings and hearings, an email group will be created and configured so the board may receive emails from the public. The chair will receive these live during the meeting and read them and respond. All votes taken at the meeting shall be taken by roll call vote. Thank you. Okay, so if we want to get our meeting rolling here, I'm not sure, we may have some who are coming in. I see EJ's on there. The first thing I'm going to do is review what's going on the common. Right now, the way it stands, the Christmas tree lights are on. What? Yeah, and
He said you didn't let him in.
I haven't got a request. Is Bill still there? Neil, if you would like to try and get in again, give it a shot. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. If you would like to try and come in yet.
Bill still on? Is Bill still on?
I don't know. You there, Bill?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, for some reason Neil's trying to get in and I haven't got a request to let him in, and have you?
Oh. No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, he's trying right now.
Okay.
Okay, well, you went to the code, etc., and clicked on it, and well, try it again, and we'll see what's what.
Which Bill answered you? How many Bills are on here?
Bill Murphy's here.
Oh, that's Bill Murphy.
Oh, it's Bill
Yes.
Murphy. Okay.
How you doing, Murph?
Bill
Good.
Murphy.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you. Doing good. Hanging in.
I don't know where the other Bill is.
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay, I see EJ's on there, but he has no picture. And EJ, are you in there? Can we hear you?
If I unmute, you can hear me.
There we go. Okay, now we got another one here. Is this you, Neil, who just joined?
No. No.
Okay, so somebody just joined over here. Phone number, come on, where is it? Hasn't opened up yet to see. There's no phone number associated with this person. But anyway.
Bill from North Andover Camera, you on?
Well, there's two cam symbols here.
That means nobody's there.
You're getting asked to join? Is that what you said? Yeah, and I'm not getting the notice here. Bill must be getting it.
Jeff, it's Shanita.
Hi, Shanita. Okay, good.
I'm going to mute, okay?
Okay, for now, but I want everybody to introduce themselves. Okay, somebody else just came on here, says
All
Cam
right,
member.
looks like Neil's here.
Okay.
Neil's in. You're in, Neil. Okay.
I like to do it the other way, you know.
Okay, let's do this before we officially start the meeting here. Let's go with introductions. Jimmy, we'll start with you.
Jim Fazio, member of the festival committee.
Tom,
Hi, Jeff. I'm sorry. I was distracted by my kids. Sorry.
no biggie. Just introduce yourself.
Oh, Tom Duggan. Sorry.
No, not a problem. And who ends in 98? 978. Last two digits are 98.
No, that's all right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Introduce yourself.
Hold on. It's me, Connor Lincoln.
Okay, Connor, gotcha. Next over, I don't have a phone number, but I'm not sure who this is here.
Go to the next phone number, Jeff.
There's no phone number. There's one here that's 83. Might be it.
That's me,
Who's that?
Bill Murphy.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
Bill Murphy.
Bill. And then the one that
How we
ends in
doing?
1-2. Say that again. You didn't quite come in. You just got a quick pop and no audio. Who's 978 and the last two digits are 1-2?
That
Okay.
could be Bill, you know.
Jeff, this is Rob.
Okay, Rob. Okay, yeah, you're muted. Okay. Thank you, Rob. Rob Leonard. And the phone number that ends in 21.
That's me.
Okay, Sinead. And then we have North Andover CAM member here. There's nothing underneath it other than North Andover CAM membership. And then last but not least, we have co-chair.
Neil Hamilton.
Thank you.
Oh, you got one more.
What? Who did I miss? One says North Andover CAM.
EJ.
Oh yeah, where is EJ? There he is.
I'm right here.
Yeah,
I'm right
okay.
here, Jeff.
Thank you. Okay, EJ Foles, thank you. Okay, now that we're all present, so to speak, or for the most part, others I'm sure will be joining us as they can get on board. Right now that the tree, the main Christmas tree on the common is decorated with lights and it is lit. Trying to find out what the status is. Neil was there when the conversation took place. I received a call from the decorating people, the professional decorators. I, in turn, passed that on to John Lavin, gave him John Lavin's phone number. He tried calling John Lavin just as he was leaving work. John Lavin said he would call him at the beginning of this week. I haven't been able to talk to John yet, other than the fact that he informed me that depending on what happens with the snow, which he sent to me in text form, may delay or prohibit the white lights from going on the tree. I was under the impression that DPW was not going to decorate the white lights on the tree, but apparently they maybe got them. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure what the status is, if of the conversation that took place with the professional tree lighting company. So where that stands, I don't know. Unfortunately, Neil and I tried calling John and checking today. We went down to DPW. It's my understanding he was out sick today. So we still don't know what the status is. I'm trying to give Brian Frazier an update because Brian Frazier, through North Andover CAM and his board, talked about potentially funding the additional decoration of the surrounding trees. But unfortunately, I still don't have an answer on that and how quickly. I know that they said they couldn't do it, if you recall from the previous meeting. They could not do it before the second week of December, which we're coming up into. Coincidentally, the gentleman who I spoke with was the one who actually gave me the quote last year. So that's all good because basically we're all on the same page. And I think the quote was still good from my conversation with him. So that's basically where we stand with that right now. Also, yes.
Jim Fazio.
Yeah.
The tree is lit already?
Tree is lit.
Oh, nice. Okay, thank you.
And so what we're going to have to do, depending on Hopefully I'll hear from John tomorrow to see if this is it or if we can get the professionals out there. But
Right.
now we're going to have to schedule in conjunction with Brian our virtual tree lighting, how we're going to handle it. So we have to pick the date, etc. More likely than not, it will be a weekday. That way we're not concerned about crowds, and having the tree on ahead of time doesn't make like we're doing anything official out there. That it's not uncommon for us to be out there several times beforehand.
I was hoping that we could do it before the Santa call-in show.
Right. Well, hopefully we can do that. It's just a matter of scheduling now, I think. But I would like to get a confirmation from John Lavin that what level we are at from a decorating standpoint. Because
Right.
the way he worded it, I was under the impression, although I couldn't get a confirmation from him, that they had now the white lights. I think Neil Hamill saw some DPW workers coming out of Rockies with maybe boxes of lights in their hands. I'm not sure. That's one of the town suppliers for goods and services. So it possibly is the case. I'm not sure. But anyway, we have to get a confirmation one way or the other. We still have outstanding issues.
Is it going to be the same size lights that are on there now?
No, what we currently have on the Christmas tree, we have the C9s.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about the other tree.
Yeah, on the other trees, usually we put up the quote unquote twinkle lights, the small size.
So they're being changed to the small size. Oh, they
Yeah.
are on there anyway, aren't they? Okay.
Yes, they are. They are. In fact, that was that was a major complaint that our town manager and
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
was because there was one strand of those twinkle lights lit on one of the trees, and everybody was under the assumption that that's all we were doing this year. So there was a lot of feedback from our citizens in town saying they didn't think it looked that good, and we agree. But anyway, that's where we stand with that right now. Over and above that, further on the common, we did purchase the wreath that we said we were going to purchase.
Oh, you found one.
We found one. Neil found one at
Noonan's.
Noonan's
How
where
big? How big the wreath?
it's
10
it's a 10-foot wreath.
It's a 10-footer. Wow.
Now the good thing about it is that it was expensive. It's a live wreath, but the only saving grace to it is that it actually has a steel frame in it to support a wreath that big. So I want to
hope
be
so.
sure that that is recovered at the end of the season. I don't want that being disposed of because we can redecorate it. We can even put artificial greens on it and make it a permanent display type of a thing that we can bring out every year is necessary. But one of the issues is that right now we planned on putting a banner on there, and I'd like the committee's opinion. I wish we had more members on here right now from this standpoint. But
Jeff, we have 8 on here?
Sorry?
What do we have, 8 members?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
8 or 9. The one suggestion is in memory of loved ones lost in 2020 for the banner. I don't want to specifically call out COVID, but we do want to acknowledge the year we have had, etc. Anybody can think of a better phrase or anything along those lines? We'll gladly entertain whatever and let the majority rule. So if anybody wants to give that a little thought, they're welcome to it. Does anybody object to that saying that's on there right now? The one in memory of loved ones lost in 2020.
That's good. I think
that's good. Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept that.
Okay,
I second
it. Okay.
I just.
Okay. Well, I just thirded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
What?
I'm really supposed to go around individually, but anybody object? No, so I'll take that as a unanimous vote, and that's what we'll go with. I was hoping Judy Negrelli would be on here because I'd like to see if her husband Tom could quickly get that banner going for us. If that ends up an issue, we can always see Don Peace over at Dawn Signtech. I know she gets busy this time of year, then she shuts down. That's why I was going to defer to Tom for this one. But if anybody has a recommendation, what color should the banner be? Anybody have any thoughts on that? I'm sorry,
Christina mentioned red and green.
red and green.
Yeah, with white.
White, your white printing.
Yeah, white printing.
We have 12 people on here.
Yeah. Well, you got two cams.
Make it red so you can see it, she says.
Make it red so you can see. Yeah, obviously you want it to be visible. It will be adjacent to the flagpole out there in that vicinity where there are spotlights, so we don't have to worry about illuminating it. If we felt that that we would like to have some lights on there, we could always add them to it if that's the case, because there is power there. But hopefully it will be fine just the way it is. We also purchased some lumber today. Neil and I went out and we bought some 2x3s to make a tripod stand to support it. I think maybe about 3 feet off the ground should be good because it is a 10-foot wreath. That should be more than adequate. So, what? How come I can't mute? Mute. There we go. Okay, just muted whoever A3 is temporarily.
Yeah, because they're breathing heavy.
I know.
That's Bill.
It's Bill. Okay, you didn't realize that he was breathing as he was. So anyway, okay, that's basically where we stand from that standpoint for the common. So that can go up as soon as we have the banner in place. And I think we should be good to go. We still have to, as I said, the outstanding thing is right now is the status of the ancillary trees around the common, whether or not that's going to take place or not. We can theoretically ourselves just go approach the company. But once again, I don't want to do something redundant. And if DPW purchased them with the intent of putting them on, I'd like to clear it with them first. So that's basically where we stand. Yes? I thought somebody was going to say something.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, good. Okay, now, next thing that I'd like to get into is the Santa Parade, the neighborhood drive-through, which is taking place on the 19th and 20th. I was hoping Rosemary Smedili would be on here for this portion. Rosemary has also offered us her convertible if needed. That way we could put in earlier, somebody had mentioned that we might want to put some characters in the parade. And Tom mentioned that each school has a mascot. And I don't know if Tom wants to touch on that a little, but over and above that, the festival committee is in possession of 4 costumes, Frosty the Snowman, the Grinch, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the Pink Bunny suit from Toy Story. So they could go in the car. They could also ride in apparatus and police cruisers along with the public safety. That's potential there. So Tom, you want to enlighten us to what is available out there from the schools?
Sure. I had mentioned earlier to Jeff that if they were looking for things to round out I didn't realize. Sorry, Charlie, quiet. I didn't realize the festival committee had character costumes, but if they were looking to round out things, if we were looking to round out things, some of the schools have character costumes like the Bulldog for Bradstreet. Kittredge has a kangaroo costume, and parents in the past have put them on for different events and things like that. So it might just be an option that if you're looking to fill some space, I know we're still trying to keep it small and manageable, but if there's a space we need to fill in, there's some resources that we could probably leverage from the PTOs.
So Tom, how many now total do you know of costumes on that end? So we have like what, 5 or?
Public schools plus the
I think there's at least 4 that I know of, Jeff, that I've
Okay.
seen, but I can ask my friends in the PTOs tonight to see.
Okay. That would be good.
Yeah.
So we can see if we can possibly, because that would give us a total of 8. But to be honest with you, I think it would be nice to have the representation from the schools out there. And we could always look at our costumes as the filler pieces if necessary. I think that would be nice, a nice touch from that standpoint, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if anybody else has an opinion on it, but that's my personal take. So that works. Okay, EJ,
Jeff,
yes,
the only thing I just caution you is the size of this parade is growing,
That's right.
which becomes more of a safety hazard with intersections, et cetera. I know you
Yes.
mentioned cons, but not everything has lights.
well,
So that's
theoretically,
the concerns I have.
right. Theoretically, we're adding 2 to this if necessary. One being Rosemary's vehicle if we need it. We don't necessarily have to, and potentially a DPW vehicle. Other than that, it's going to stay the same size that it was. As I said, it would be nice if we're going to have these characters, if we could put them in the fire apparatus and maybe in a police car as well. They could wave out the window that way. I think that would be the best way to do it versus add additional vehicles.
Jeff, I think you should just, my own opinion, all right? Just leave it to Santa Claus in that parade. You don't need characters, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a Santa drive-by, so
No, I hear you.
the kids are gonna be really excited about it. I mean, you need the police vehicle, you need your vehicle, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, that's my own opinion, but
No, exactly. And as I said, I'm throwing it out there, and it had been suggested.
Right.
And the reason why I think it was suggested was because when Haverhill did it, they had Sparky the fire dog and a couple of characters that all the kids were cheering on. So I think that's how that kind of came up and into it. But I'm not opposed to either, and I don't object to either. Whether it's just Santa alone, it's fine with me. Another thing that had been proposed that we're supposed to hear about, Rosemary Smedili said that it would be nice if we could have an airplane flying over town with a banner on that same day or weekend, saying Merry Christmas from the town to everybody. So she was checking that out with a couple of resources that she had. Neil also provided me with a contact as well that I passed on to her. But I guess she contacted Timmy Campbell, and Timmy Campbell gave her a couple of names of somebody to talk to. And I don't know what's going to happen there, if that's even going to take place, but just making the committee aware of it. So from that standpoint, do we have any progress when it comes to our actual route that we're planning on doing? EJ, Tom?
Yeah, Tom sent me the bus routes, which were a huge help. And I'm basically working on finding a route to hit as many streets possible, but continuing along without crisscrossing without hitting too many streets a second time.
Right.
And then we're obviously going to have to cross 125 when we leave Station 1.
Right.
And that's the easiest. I mean, that's the worst road probably.
Yeah.
And then I take 114 into consideration, which I think I got to work around on that.
Good.
So I just want to know, did we ever figure out any height restrictions between the forestry truck and Santa?
Well, I'll get into that next. Right now, as it stands, but before I get into that, I just wanted to touch base on one more thing from the route perspective while you're planning. It had been suggested by some of the town officials who spoke to me about this, said as nice as it is to be sure every kid gets to see Santa, that it would really be special if the seniors got to see Santa as well. So what they had requested is it possible that we could drive through some of the senior housing on our route to give them a little uplift because they have been so downtrodden and sequestered during this emergency that we're in right now. So I'm throwing that out there to see what we can work in from that standpoint. Uh,
That's an easy fix. The only tough one is McCabe Court.
Right, absolutely.
I was just gonna say,
But if we stick to Belmont Street, the front of McCabe, we're
Right.
fine. Everything else as entrances and exits that we can pull through. and they're all along the routes I was already kind of planning.
Good.
So that shouldn't be a problem at all.
Excellent, excellent, good.
It's right on top of things.
Nice to know that that can be incorporated because that was a request that came in. Okay, so from that standpoint, we are good. I spoke with the fire chief a little while ago. He wants me to bring him up to speed. He couldn't be on tonight's meeting, but we have tried several resources to try and get an apparatus, an open apparatus, a convertible apparatus, so to speak, where we could have Santa fully exposed to the public, yet protected. We're dead against having him, even though it's nice, we can't put him in the turret platform on top of the ladder because there's so many low hanging wires. We've kind of scoped out the routes a little bit, that there's a lot of wires going across streets that potentially could cause issues. The chief stated that many times when the ladder goes out on outcountry calls, that it comes back with tree branches on top. So if that's the case, if it's brushing trees, etc., Santa wouldn't fare very well under those circumstances either. The other issue was the brush truck had been suggested. The only issue there is we have our confined space people in town, the firefighters, who looked at that and they weren't comfortable with being able to come up with some type of a contraption or rig that would absolutely safely hold Santa in the back of the pickup truck. That was the concern. They weren't comfortable doing that. And that was actual lieutenants on the fire department, not the chief, who made that recommendation and said that really isn't a good go. Ultimately, our backup plan is and was, we've also, over and above that, before I get into the backup plan, we scoped out different apparatus. Out at the airport, there's antique fire trucks there. The problem being is that due to COVID, all parades had been canceled all year. So the people who privately own these apparatuses have not brought them out of mothballs, so to speak. They're not prepped, the oil isn't in them, they drain them down for seasonal storage, etc., and have remained that way since last year. So gaining access to those is next to impossible right now. Obviously, we wouldn't be in this bind for the circumstances being what they are. And that also dictated the reason why all this apparatus is basically being mothballed right now. We have run down or tried to run down a couple more apparatus. There was one in Wilmington that we thought we could potentially get. And there was one in North Andover that we potentially could also have, owned by a private company. But we have not heard back from them either. I mentioned it to the chief, and again, he was still not comfortable with the fact that out country with low hanging wires, etc., that potentially something could happen. The suggestion was made that one of the firefighters, Lieutenant Davis, who does a lot of charity work, and he has a red Jeep, and he opens it up completely and decorates it, etc., and that Santa could ride in the back of that. He could stand up and hold on to the roll bar when he wants to wave to people. Then if we're up at speed, he could sit down in the seat and not be in harm's way. Still over and above that, we'd have all the apparatus in the parade, et cetera, et cetera. And basically that's where we stand right now. So we do have, if something else comes up, the chief also mentioned that the 1935 LaFrance was back in town, an antique fire truck, which would be beautiful to have in the parade, but it is not in running condition right now. It had to be towed back in, so it's going to be restored. So this year, under the circumstances, giving all the constraints that we're under, makes it extremely difficult to have what we would like, but ultimately we can make do with the best that we have. And I think we could make that work somehow, one way or the other, if we were to decorate it with some lights or something along those lines. There's something that potentially we could do there with that. So we can pull it off no matter what. It's just a matter of how we handle it. Tom, you look like you're thinking about something or want to say something. No? Okay, you're good. Okay. EJ, how does all this sound to you so far?
It sounds doable. Time crunch and getting the info out is going to be the tricky part.
Yeah.
You know, we can find something that Santa can ride in and be visible. we can give them an escort.
Right.
The trick is finding the route. Downtown's easy.
Right.
Out country's the challenge as far, and especially with, speeds and being on certain roads, and
Yeah.
trying to incorporate all the neighborhoods, because we have a whole other part of North Andover out off Boston Street, etc. And a couple of neighborhoods off 114.
Right. Right. And that's as EJ. I know the Berry Street complex can be accessed without going through 114. I'm
Right.
correct, right?
Yep.
But what's the Harvest? Is it Harvest Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
there's. Is there access besides 114 into Harvest?
No,
I
no,
don't think.
it's off 114.
Right.
The easiest way would be for us to either come up 114 and turn into Harvest, or you have a couple cruisers out at Sharpness, hold traffic while the parade goes across. But because of the speeds out there, I'd rather not do that.
Right. Right. I hear you. I hear you. Well, that's a bit of a challenge. Yes, Neil, you're going to say something?
Yeah, we might have that option, TBI.
I'm sorry.
We might still have that option with TBI.
Yeah, only if we hear something, but we haven't heard anything yet. That's the private company I was talking about their tower, but we still haven't heard that. So I mean, we'll have
EJ, do you know anybody over at TBI?
I know a couple of people.
Brian and Jeff.
Well, what are we looking for?
They have a tower truck over there.
And what's the height on it?
That's
The
just,
That has the basket that's down in the front. You know that lime green fire truck when we had that big fire over there?
Yeah.
Well, that's still there. I went over the other day and I talked to Brian, and Brian was going to pass that message and my phone number and Jeff's number off to Jeff, and he was going to call me, and I haven't heard anything back. But it does run. It's movable. It runs great.
the only issue is right now that it is unregistered, which is maybe why they might be a little reluctant.
But
and that potential issue. And then one of our selectmen had suggested that Cody's could, who know them very well and very friendly with them, could supply a temporary plate for them if that was the case for the parade. But then again, ultimately, it's their property, their decision, not something we want to force on them. Just so I'm looking at it this way. It'd be nice, providing I know that would work downtown. I'm not sure, at least I think it would. I'm not sure uptown how that would work. But
we're only going to main roads.
I'm sorry?
Only the main roads.
Right, I know. But again, like I said, the concern is, that safety being the number one thing, and whether they'd be willing to do it. I mean, I hope they would. If they offered it, that's one thing. But where it's an unregistered vehicle, so to speak, it's not really doing a parade route. They may have concerns about that, which I fully understand. So we'll just have to see where that's going.
Yeah, I think we need to avoid that.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah, no, we are going to have to advertise it, but we're going to advertise it from the standpoint of, if you want to observe this, go on your front lawn or park your car on the side of the road and watch from your car, or stand outside your vehicle, but socially distance from other vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. The whole idea is we're not trying to create a parade route atmosphere here. So that's something we want to stress. Right. But you have to understand, as you heard EJ saying just now, that we're basically, and Neil stated, we're sticking basically to main roads. We're not going through every side street in every neighborhood. So if somebody wants to see, obviously, and they're a street away, they may want to put the family in the car and pull out to the main street so they can at least see from that standpoint. I wouldn't want everybody to get the impression that this entourage is going down every street in every neighborhood. that's why we're going to say main streets, etc. From that standpoint. So we have to.
And hey, Jeff, this is Tom. And I
Yeah.
think if we get that message out, I know in talking with some Kittredge families that I'm friendly with, people understand that if they come out to the main street, like Osgood Street for us and some other folks, that I
Right.
think they're willing to do that as Santa comes down.
Good.
Especially if they know about what time he's going to be there.
Right. And that's something else we're trying to work on now. We do have a new IT person who just started, but they're planning on, according to what our town manager said, trying to incorporate a Google map, an active Google map that tracks Santa's progress, route, etc. And they're going to publish the route as well on the town website. We're going to try and get it on North Andover Cam. I noticed, I don't know if any of you saw it in the paper, but Methuen just took a full page ad, which I cringed at, thinking of the cost. But they just published their Santa drive around that they're doing. And they actually had the full map on the full page ad in the Tribune with the map on there, plus all the additional activities that they're doing. But just making you aware of that. So we're going to have to publicize it somehow to get the word out over and above that. But we're obviously going to have something on the town website that's up there. So we've got a lot of work to do from that regard, but hopefully we can get everything done with enough entities here to be able to pull everything together. I think we should be able to get this thing going.
You know, Jeff, possibly maybe the town would chip in for that page of advertisement in the Tribune.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know. I don't know. I know a full page ad costs an arm and a leg like that. Of course, you have to remember. I don't know if any of you read in the paper that Methuen's decorating budget was $68,000.
I don't.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, that was supplied. That's town budgeted money.
And he
So,
took money. They took money from another budget to put into that budget.
Yeah. So
Those
I mean,
are a lot of cans you have to collect.
what's that, Neil?
I said those are a lot of cans you have to collect.
I guess so. But anyway, so we're not in the same league, so to speak, or have the same resources. But we are going to have to get the word out there somehow. So
Is Bill Murphy still with us?
yeah, I believe so. Bill, are you there? His mic is off. Let me see.
I think he fell asleep.
I don't know if I can. How do I unmute him? It's you can't unmute someone else. So Bill has to unmute himself. There you go. I think he did. Bill, nope, he's still muted. He's there, but he's muted.
All right. Well, Bill had an idea. They just did it in Connecticut yesterday, making a sleigh on a trailer with Santa in it.
Right, and we had actually talked about that, which would be a nice thing to do too. We also had talked about, and I think Connor had suggested that early on, that we could always put the antique fire truck on a trailer and have Santa in that. It's a little anticlimactic to see Santa sitting on a fire truck on a trailer, but that had also been suggested. It said, hey, it is doable though if we had to. If it was an antique horse-drawn pumper or something along those lines, or the old steamers, I could see Santa doing that. That would be appropriate on a trailer. But something to consider. I know that would be nice as well. I've seen other parades, other Santa parades, Christmas parades that actually have done that, where at the end of the parade, rather than have Santa on the apparatus, he was actually seated in a sleigh that was being pulled. And many times it's being pulled by a fire truck or a brush truck type of thing that has a hitch on it that they can pull. But things to consider, all things to consider, you know. So anyway, that's where we stand with that. Any other suggestions from that standpoint? We don't have anything really to put out there yet, I imagine, right, EJ? The way we stand right now. And Tom, I think everything's still in the works, but we will be able to get that out there. So right now, it sounds to me, EJ, from your perspective from the police department, we are looking at car 20 being out in advance, so I don't even really consider car 20 part of the caravan, so to speak. But car 20 will be out in front, making some noise to let everybody know that the caravan is coming. We're going to have a police cruiser out in front, We're probably going to have then, I'm guessing, an apparatus behind the police cruiser. Most likely it's going to be an engine, a pumper. That will be next in line. Then I imagine behind that will be Santa Claus in the Jeep as it stands right now, unless we get something else more
I'll just use my truck.
appropriate. And then behind we will have a cruiser, or in possibly in between after that, between the cruiser and Santa, etc. Maybe a DPW vehicle. Not necessarily doesn't have to be in that order. Whatever order everybody thinks is appropriate. But that seems to be the lineup right now. I think the only one that's safe to say from the order is emergency management's vehicle, car 20, will be out in front because that's the advanced vehicle. Other than that, however you think it's best to arrange the grouping. But does that sound manageable from the police department standpoint for vehicles?
Yeah, you're talking 5 or 6 vehicles. That's that's manageable.
Yep, that's what we've been talking about from the get-go. So I mean, if we had characters or no characters, they would be interspersed amongst those vehicles. They wouldn't be in additional vehicles. As I said, the only other offer was that Rosemary Neely offered her convertible if needed, and I said we didn't know yet. So that's where we stand. So I think that's all doable. I think from our perspective.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
why do we need a DPW vehicle in it?
Well, as the fire chief said, it just might be a nice idea to ask them if they want to participate, because I am the only person that I know of in town, and I'm not saying this is getting a little off topic here, who has stood before the Board of Selectmen and said that they are the unsung heroes of public safety. Because every time we are out there, whether it's the police, fire, emergency management, the DPW are out there with us, whether they're clearing the roads, moving debris, cutting trees, et cetera, et cetera. They are as much an important part of public safety as anything else. And I made a point to publicly acknowledge them at the Board of Selectmen meeting at one time. And besides, kids love the flashing lights and they love to see a dump truck or, it's like touch a truck. So I think it'd be kind of a nice thing to have in there. Yep. See, we got a thumbs up. Yeah. Henry says it's a go. See, Henry gave us the smile and the thumbs up. So we're good. So for that perspective, I think it's a nice thing, They could even have a plow truck, although a plow truck sometimes a little dangerous with the plow blade on there if you have public out there. But, they can put something in there with flashing lights, which they do. And I think it would be a nice addition. And now, I don't know if they want to participate, but we're going to extend the invitation to them. So. Any other comments on the neighborhood drive-through? Think we're good? Good. Okay. Now, over and above that, as I said, the town has been working on possibly having the senior center, library, and youth center putting craft kits together with bags, inside bags that they can leave out for the kids. The other thing that over and above that is that I'd like to get into, once again, we're getting back to Tom. Obviously, Ashley isn't here tonight, but I'd like to know what the status is for our quote unquote scavenger hunt.
Sure. Thanks, Jeff. We've made tremendous progress over the past week. Ashley and I are super pleased to announce, and especially in partnership with the merchants and the town manager, we've got 30 businesses in town that are going to participate. And it's great. They're located all around town, not only just downtown, but located all over town. We had a fantastic meeting today with Sarah Brush from the town's social media department, and she's building out a new Facebook page for us to be able to have the photos linked to, the information being linked up to. And so we had a great conversation with her today about building that. So right now we have 30 businesses in. We have all the riddles done. We're going to print the stars on the cardstock tomorrow.
Good.
The snowflake, I'm sorry, the snowflake. We're going to print the snowflake on cardstock tomorrow for delivery on Friday. And we should be good to go live on Friday for the next week between the 12th and the 20th for the scavenger hunt.
Awesome. Good job. Good job coming together.
And
Just wanted to, yeah, quickly, that Joanna Willette, I mentioned to her about what you were doing. I'll get into that whole conversation in a minute. But she said that she would like to help out if you needed it with any aspects of the scavenger hunt, because she's had a lot of experience doing that over at the Stevens estate. But it sounds like you have it well in hand, and I was hoping Joanna would have been on this call. She planned on being here, but she had another meeting that's either coming up before or after, so she may or may not pop in. But that sounds like you have it covered.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to add at the end, Jeff, was, and for the members of the committee, is I think we're totally want more participation, and the way that Sarah's building the Facebook page and the other links to media, we can add people pretty easily. But just for tonight, we're gonna kind of cut it off at 30 to go live on Friday, and then if people want to participate, they can reach out to Ashley and I, and then we'll work with Sarah and add them to the list, and add them to the list of clues, and deliver more snowflakes as people want to join in.
Very good. Excellent. Good job. Good job. Good to hear. Nice. So that's all coming together. And is there a prize, or is just the bragging rights that you found all the items, or how does that work?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that today. I think all three of us have young kids, so we thought it would be good just to have the bragging rights aspect of the program and just make it fun. And I think that lessens the burden on the businesses and us as well. So I think it's just a good way for people to get out and walk around. We may do something as it evolves with like Sarah, if let's say a family on Monday completes all 30 clues, we might do like a little featurette on the social media page for that family. But the idea will be is everyone get out there, explore town safely, meet the businesses, and then upload the photos. And then we're also going to be able to push that information over to North Andover CAM so that they'll be able to have those photos as part of their stock footage during the Santa Parade, if there's any downtime that they need to have, or just in general over the remainder of the holiday and winter months.
Very good. Very good.
Judy won't be on tonight.
Yeah, I just got it. Neil, if you get a second, could you send her a text and ask her about Tom?
Yes. Yeah.
If you just take care of that, because I can't do both. But anyway, that's great. That sounds wonderful. Well, you guys have done a great job with that. That sounds good. Okay, a couple other things I wanted to touch base on. Joanna Willette from the Stevens Estate contacted me on behalf of the festival committee, wanting to know if we could help support their holidays, the event that they hold at the Stevens Estate. Normally they have the house decorated, etc. But this year what they are doing is they're having a drive-through, so to speak, where you drive up the driveway and you turn around where the big fir tree is in front of the mansion. And they're gonna set it up as a giving tree. There will be stations there, I think, that where things can be dropped off. There'll be different groups of people that you can drop off different goods with, et cetera, et cetera. And she wanted to know if we could possibly assist them with decorating that fir tree in front of the Stevens State House. And I was telling her, I said, I didn't think that was possible at all from our perspective, considering we were having such a very difficult time finding anybody to decorate the tree on the common, and let alone that our DPW is flat out. That's a pretty massive tree. But in the past, town has decorated that tree. And so that's why she brought that up. And she was hoping to be on this meeting tonight to give more information about what was going on. But hopefully she can make it in towards the end. If not, I just wanted to touch base on that. So, I mean, that's basically where we are with that. Other than that, I think Sinead, you still on?
I am.
Okay, Sinead, I spoke with Sinead a little earlier, and where Sinead is doing a lot of the coordinations behind the scenes here for aspects of the tree lighting in conjunction with North Andover CAM. And also, I think she wanted to ask about who we should be thanking, et cetera. So do you want to touch base on that, Sinead?
Yes. Because a part of it, like what we did in the past before, if any organization or any businesses support us to make all the events happen, we usually use our social media, which is our Facebook and our Twitter account to thank them. So I check with the members if there's any one this year that we should mention on our social media to thank them for their uh, contributions or dedication for our events for this year in particular. I do have Pentucket Bank, which you guys know that they always our partner and then donate some money to help. We do have China Blossom, and I'm not sure about other businesses or organizations that we should mention on our social media.
Well, if I could jump in here real quick. One thing that Tom just mentioned about that we weren't aware of the great participation from the Merchants Association now. Is that something that we should be acknowledging also, Tom, do you feel, in this aspect of what we put out there, where we're going to be putting on social media saying, thank you to China Blossom, and we still haven't, although it's good to go, we still haven't received the funding from China Blossom through Selectman Smedili. That's supposed to be forthcoming, just making everybody aware of that. But we'll be obviously thanking China Blossom, Pentucket Bank. Should we also thank the DPW for the decorating the tree on the common? Should we be thanking the merchants for their participation in the scavenger hunt?
Just to remind everyone, North Andover Merchant Association has been our partner for all these years, and then for different things, so we always mention them. And North Andover CAM, of course, is our partner. Pentucket Bank has been our partner, and then we usually mention something about the school because public school is our partner. It's just only we don't have any performance from the school this year, but any business that contribute, we can do it. Usually, of course, we know that it's a financial donation, but this year, any contribution we will acknowledge it because of all the pandemic.
Exactly. So if anybody feels, you don't have to do it this minute, but the sooner the better. Anybody who should be acknowledged, you can either submit it to me or Sinead directly. And if I get them, I'll obviously pass them on to her. She's aware of what you've mentioned. I don't know if anybody else should be included, but something to think about. Okay, anybody else have any other input along those lines? I think basically, I think we've covered our topics here. How are we doing on time here? Oh, we're doing very good. So we're about 5 minutes to 6. Any other topics that anybody wants to bring up or touch on, expand on, anything we've discussed? So are we good to go? I think so. Okay. Well, then I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.